What's going on, everyone? My name is Triforce Addiction and welcome back to another Spongebob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated update video. So on the last video I showed you guys the trailer for this game that THQ Nordic released kind of like behind our backs without really letting us know. Thanks to a certain person such as Writers DX and probably some other people that he got the source from. He actually discovered that, that on the Microsoft Store that they actually released this trailer. So of course, I bet a lot of you guys are pretty excited to see this, and I think it was high time that we actually got a trailer because it's been a very long time since we've gotten any sort of news for this game. I know they have been teasing us on Twitter constantly with, all these little Monday motivation pictures like every week, but really that wasn't really enough. Everyone's just still kind of like, excited or just ready to hear any sort of news, and we finally got it. But on this video we're gonna talk about the screenshots that were released on the same page for the trailer. So the trailer wasn't the only thing that got released. There were a couple more screenshots of certain levels that I would really like to discuss, so let's get into it. So before I go any further, I just want to let you guys know to hit that subscribe button and make sure to like this video so we could actually hit the 100 subscriber mark, because I am almost there. I'm at 83 currently and I'm about to hit that milestone. It might not be much, but it's something. It's a good starter. But anyways, let's actually get into this video. So this is the very first screenshot that we see in this page. I'm going in chronological order, so bear with me here. So the first thing to notice is that over there behind the pineapple, it actually seems to be a couple of beach umbrellas and a couple of beach chairs. It seems like Goo Lagoon is literally right behind the pineapple, well, just pretty much behind the neighborhood. And it seems kind of off to me, but I kind of understand it, because Goo Lagoon didn't really look that good in the background when you were actually in Bikini Bottom. Back then in the original game, there used to be like this sort of I guess out of bounds barrier that you couldn't cross, and if you try to do that, Hans will come after you and basically send you back to where you spawned in the map. So before, it used to be just literally just a barren wasteland of sand and just buildings in the background that you couldn't even access. But besides looking like just a barren wasteland, I actually prefer this version a lot better, because you could actually see Goo Lagoon's level a lot more clear now. You could actually see the sandcastle that you usually go in as Patrick, and you could see that little bungee jump needle where you go to as Spongebob at the Goo Lagoon Pier. So we have a more, I guess, a more larger view distance than before, and it looks amazing. So the next thing of this picture that I want to talk about is the background once more, but with what do you call it, downtown Bikini Bottom. So I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like downtown Bikini Bottom has moved a little bit closer when it comes to at least background wise. And also that I've noticed that there's this like weird boatmobile on the right side of the lighthouse. I don't know what it is. It looks like it's crashed vertically, and just looking at it, it kind of seems pretty big for a boatmobile, especially if you have like streets that small. If it was like only one boatmobile could usually fit through there, but yeah, the boatmobile looks bigger than it should be. I don't know why that is, but I guess whatever. The only one thing I don't understand is how SpongeBob's able to actually use his Bubble Bash so high up into the air. Maybe there's I think around this area, like right in front of Squidward's house, there are these like platforms that go more higher. The more you climb it, there's like a shiny object. I think that's how they actually got the picture. Like they got in a certain angle and they just took a screenshot of him doing the Bubble Bash. So yeah, I think that's how it happened. So now on to the second screenshot, and this is something I was hoping to see because I really love this part of Goo Lagoon. The pier is probably one of my favorite parts in the game. It's like the most fun, at least to me. But so visually this level looks very, very stunning, and yeah, I can't wait to play it. But to be honest with you guys, there's really not much to see here other than just, well, actually there's really nothing other than just the sky, and the water looks, at first I thought it was like taking place in a sky or something, because like I couldn't see the water, but you could see the textures on the bottom left screen. It does have water. Yeah, I was like thinking that like, okay, where's the water at? but it looks so camouflaged with the sky. It's so weird. But yeah, the water is there. Just that was something it felt like an optical illusion to me. So now we move on to the third screenshot, and to be honest with you, this is probably one of my favorite screenshots that I saw, because just looking at the Goo Lagoon caves, it looks absolutely amazing. It looks extremely beautiful, and yes, there's water. I could actually see it, thank God. And you know, you could see on the right side, you could see that little caveman Spongebob meme picture that, you know, everyone was just so like, I don't know why, I can't look at that thing without laughing just because of all those memes that just come out throughout all that time. I think that's why they probably added that picture there. I think in this specific picture, it takes place near the end of this second portion of Goo Lagoon. You know, of course, it's facing the way where you go to the entrance. So all the way over there where the spikes are, and you see that little umbrella robot in the very back. That's near the entrance. On that cliff, there's actually a sock there, and I hope it's still there. I hope they didn't change it. So we could only assume that the person that was actually controlling SpongeBob here was actually headed towards the exit, which leads to the Goo Lagoon Pier. So on to the fourth picture. This one takes place in downtown Bikini Bottom on the rooftops. You could see Sandy right here, lassoing her way to the roof. And there you could also see the tartar sauce robot ready to ruin Sandy's day by launching tartar sauce at her while she is flying to the roof. So you could also see the little wheels that you collect for Mrs. Puff. There's one right there on top of that platform on the roof, and there's another one on the wooden platforms a little bit higher. Just the lasso is covering it a little, but you could actually see it barely. It's on the top right side of the screen. So yeah, it does. Just looking at the items, they do glow, so I guess it makes it easier for you to find them. But really, there's not much to see here, so let's actually move on to the next photo. So this screenshot takes place in Squidward's dream. So the first thing to notice is that the dream, well, at least the environment looks a lot, like far different than it did in the original game. So in the original game, there was this like yellowish background that looks like it had like these little textures. Like it kind of seemed like it was like something Squidward would have in his house, kind of like a wallpaper or flooring. And also another thing to notice is that the little bars right here, every single, like these little mini platforms that have the checkpoints, they used to be like a shade of blue, but now that, I don't know, they've been changed to black, so that's another key change. And probably the biggest change, and this is something that the developers were actually saying, is that like people were asking if they were gonna have like any sort of new I guess references. And they said yes, that they're going to have a little bit newer references for the younger audience to understand it. So the biggest reference that there is right now is Squidward's hot, hunky face. So this specific picture with Squidward's more attractive face was the episode when Squidward actually broke his face thanks to SpongeBob. And, you know, he was getting tired of all that fame. And he told SpongeBob to, you know, break his face again so he could go back to normal. And instead of actually turning him back to normal, he got that face and it made him even hotter. And eventually, that specific picture became a meme. So this next screenshot takes us back to the Goo Lagoon Pier at the later parts of this pier. And you can see Patrick heading towards that sock on the ice ring, looking happy as ever. So other than that, there's nothing much to see here. On to the next picture. So as for this next picture, this one takes place right at the beginning of Goo Lagoon. And you can see Larry there in the background. I don't know why, but he looks very unhappy. And obviously because he needs those towers to hit that robot all the way in the background where you see those crates. So the first thing to notice, and which is probably the most obvious thing, is the stone tikis. So now they have like a more squared type of look. And also the biggest thing I've noticed about them is that their eyes actually now glow, which is a pretty cool touch, not gonna lie. And also another thing to notice is actually the stop sign where you go to change as Patrick. It looks a lot different than it did with its original counterpart. It looks like, you know, it has those classic red, green, and yellow stoplights. I don't know if that's actually something, or maybe it's just another inanimate object. So I'm hoping it's actually a new change to the stop sign. So now these screenshots are going to get a little bit more interesting, because now it goes on to the multiplayer section. So right here is the character selection screen, And you know, you can see a couple of nice little touches. You know, you see the username that says Goofy_Goober, and as well as the characters you get to play as. So of course we have SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy. But what caught me by surprise was Gary and Robot Plankton. I knew Squidward and Mr. Krabs were going to be part of it because it was already pretty much confirmed at PAX East. But you know, Robot Plankton and Gary, I don't know, for me they seemed like they were the very last people to be involved in this character selection screen. I thought it was actually going to be Plankton himself, but not the Robot Plankton. And for Gary, I don't know how that's going to work because there's no screenshot or there's no gameplay clips of that yet. So we'll see when we get there. So this next screenshot takes place what I could only assume is the Robot Squidward boss fight, and it looks pretty much exactly as you would see in those concepts art that you could see in the theater. And to be honest with you guys, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of scared of this guy because he looks far more sinister than all the other robot characters. So like this robot right here looks like he really wants to kill SpongeBob and Patrick. And that's what makes him so scary, especially his red eyes and his red mouth and everything. So yeah, like, I don't know, I've been seeing him even in the trailers and he just looks very scary to me. Like, far scarier than the others. So now for the final screenshot, unfortunately, we have I guess some gameplay, well, not some gameplay footage, but like, you know, I guess a screenshot of this new horde mode that they are having. At first when they said horde mode, I originally thought it was actually yet to collect stuff because, you know, hoarding, you know, that's what it meant. But when they meant horde, they actually meant you know, hordes of like robots. So basically, I guess you go to like different islands and you fight off waves of, I guess, robots, and with like playing as various characters. And I think with that little red icon or that little red spot right next to Patrick, I think maybe Squidward's kind of like attacking you while you're fighting these enemies, so it makes it a little bit harder. So I guess like the premise of this whole thing is like I guess the more islands you get to, I think the harder it's gonna be. And I'm not sure if there's like any modes where it's like, you know, you take on like maybe 10 islands and you go fight Squidward, or it's like an unlimited mode or something like that. And you can see on the top left and the top right parts of the screen, you can see that each player has their own health as well as their own shiny objects. So I guess the way this works is that, you know, you keep fighting waves of enemies until you fight Robot Squidward, and whoever has the most shiny objects, or maybe even the most health, will actually win the horde mode. But that's just my assumption. So that's pretty much it for this video. There's a lot of new things we got to see here, a lot of new information, and I'm just so happy THQ Nordic released this in the Microsoft Store website. I am extremely excited to see how this game is going to look once I actually have my hands on it. And I'm pretty sure a bunch of you guys are excited. Let me know how excited you guys are in the comment section below. So before I end off this video, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I make a new video pertaining to this or Animal Crossing related stuff if you guys are into that too. But anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. My name is Triforce Addiction. I'll see you soon.